So I wanted to take a few minutes with this video to talk about 4 interesting PlayStation 5 stories, and if you could hit that like button on the video, thank you to those that do it, and as always, it's very much appreciated. Now, the stories I wanted to dive into today includes PS5 at 400% jump, PlayStation Showcase evidence building, is Xbox crying over the Activision deal now, and Sony spent millions on this deal. First, yes or no, at this point, do you think Sony will hold a PlayStation Showcase this month or not? We're going to talk about it more so later on in the video, but for right now, I'm curious what you guys think. So comment below, yes or no, if you still think a PlayStation Showcase will happen this month or not. Let me know down in the comments below. Now, diving into the first story of the video, Xbox is crying over the Activision deal. So, before anyone goes crazy, I'm simply using this title to point out how ridiculous it was for extreme Xbox fanboys to call Jim Ryan crying for doing what he's supposed to do for his business when it came to this Xbox Activision deal. Microsoft is doing the same now, and they're clearly upset over what the UK Competition and Markets Authority, CMA, said recently. Let's go over some of the main points here from Xbox. Right off the bat, UK CMA voices concerns about the Activision Xbox deal, and the first response I see is Xbox saying they're adopting Sony's complaints without appropriate level of critical review. They're doing the most review here. You guys just don't like the response. Xbox also points out that thinking PlayStation will shut down if Xbox owns Call of Duty is ridiculous, which I agree to. I don't think PlayStation will shut down, but will definitely be heavily impacted. Xbox then goes off to point out how Sony is the market leader with 150 million install base. They're including PlayStation 4 here compared to Xbox's 63.7 million. This includes Xbox One, Series X, and Series S, which means the SX and SS have sold about 13 million consoles at this point. But on this point, Microsoft, you guys barely pushed out games last generation, and people also bought PlayStation because of the Call of Duty deals they had. Let's point that out as well to see the influence of Call of Duty on the market space. They also point out that Sony isn't afraid of increasing their console pricing like they did recently. This tells me that Microsoft didn't increase their price just yet to say this on the deal as a counterpoint. That's what it feels like. Sony increased their pricing for inflation. We know that. The reverse point here is Xbox can clearly take the hit by not increasing their console pricing, just like they can take the hits when releasing games day one on Game Pass. That's a counterpoint to this to make you guys not seem like the victim, because you're not. You're a trillion-dollar company at this point. Then they go on to make the hilarious point that Sony bought Bungie and Haven as if that equates to Activision. It is wild to see a company say this extreme Xbox fanboy nonsense statement. You're comparing Bungie, who's still multi-platform, and Haven, who do not have a game under their belt yet, out in the public. Nobody knows what they're making, to Activision, one of the biggest publishers in the world with the best-selling game franchise yearly. Come on now, what is this comparison? It was ridiculous to see that on the article. They also point out that Sony had 280 first and third-party exclusives in 2021, 5 times as Xbox. I'm genuinely wondering if they're also including third-party content here, not even full games, so just any exclusive piece of content they included in this 280 number. Xbox, you guys have a $1 trillion company backing you. All those exclusive games and content Sony got, you guys could get way more. You have the money to do it. This is a weird point. Not as weird as the Haven Bungie point, but still, it's a weird point to make. The last point from Xbox here is that if people switch to Xbox from PlayStation, it's because they have more choice when it comes to paying for their games, meaning, of course, Game Pass. And this is behavior that the CMA should encourage. This part I get. Competition is always good in my books, but 1, Activision is at a different level, and 2, if you really want to compete, get your 23 studios in order, Microsoft, Xbox. Like people say Sony shouldn't depend on Call of Duty. Well, Xbox shouldn't depend on buying the biggest publishers in the game to push them on Game Pass. Produce games from your already stacked lineup of studios. I think they have more studios than PlayStation at this point before the Activision deal. Get working on them. The CMA's final detailed point here also counters this, saying they're worried what all of this content on Game Pass will do to competing subscription services down the line, like Amazon, Nvidia, or of course even PlayStation Plus at one point. This is also a focus I've pointed out before. I'd want Sony's PS Plus to be able to compete. People shouldn't want Game Pass to hold so much ground because those prices could very well increase in the future, and who's going to stop Microsoft if they're the home of some of the biggest franchises in gaming history, period. These are some of the points made. I'll link the articles in the description below if you want to check everything else out in detail. Now, diving into the second story of the video, Sony spent millions on this deal. Reading from PlayStation Universe, remember back when Ark Survival Evolved was a PlayStation Plus game for March 2022? Well, that was the result of Sony forking over a hefty $3.5 million to secure the game for its flagship subscription service, according to September's SEC filing. Interestingly, Microsoft forked out $2.5 million to secure Ark for Game Pass for the first half of the year, and an additional $2.3 million to bring the sequel to the service when it sees the light of day. So this was an interesting insight into these deals. $3.5 million. I didn't even play Ark myself. I saw some making the comparison between Game Pass and PlayStation Plus, with Microsoft paying $1 million less, but for some reason people are forgetting games on the PlayStation Plus monthly set, not the catalog. They don't go away. They're in your library forever if you have a PlayStation Plus subscription, while on Game Pass it's gone after 6 months here and then you have to buy it. But you guys let me know if you even played Ark Survival yourself or not. Let me know down in the comments below. Now, diving into the third story of the video, PS5 400% boost. Reading from Video Game Chronicle, PlayStation shipments to the US in September 2022 were up 400% year on year, it's claimed. David Gibson, a senior analyst at MST Financial, studied import documentation to determine how many Sony Interactive products were arriving in the US. According to Gibson, Sony Interactive shipped around 7.5 million kilograms of stock to the US in September 2022. This was an increase of 400%, or 5 times the size of the 1.5 million kilograms shipped to the US in September 2021. It should be noted that this doesn't necessarily mean 5 times as many PlayStation 5 consoles came to the country year on year last month, as the figure represents all Sony Interactive Entertainment shipments, not just PlayStation 5 consoles. So even if this doesn't exactly mean 5 times the consoles, it still means Sony's production is up, and 400% is a big jump. This should also hopefully mean what we've been hearing, that PlayStation 5 supply is getting better before the holidays. So if you wanted a PlayStation 5, you might finally be able to get one this year. And now diving into the final story of the video, PlayStation Showcase Evidence Building. So website GameRant recently put out an article titled "All the Potential Evidence of a PlayStation Showcase this month." In this article, they point out several things that could hint at a showcase. Some of this stuff we've covered before. First one is God of War releasing next month, and we haven't seen a full gameplay section for it. I'd say this could be at a separate state of play. It doesn't need to be at a showcase. Second one is the Final Fantasy 16 point we've seen before, with the producers saying we could see more of the game in October. They also point out the recent Horizon Zero Dawn remaster, which we've heard could be announced soon. That's what they listed in the article. I'll add 2 more to this: the Helldivers 2 leak we got not too long ago, and of course the Death Stranding 2 possible teases from Kojima. I'm not sure if these confirm a showcase, obviously, but they definitely all line up for something possibly happening sometime soon. Let's see if October is the month. But you guys let me know if you think Kojima's next game is Death Stranding 2 or not. Let me know down in the comments below. And if you guys did enjoy this video, please hit that like button. As it always helps, to subscribe if you're new. I got new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And now I'll check you guys out on the next one. And welcome back to the after show. This is the part of the video where we have a little fun down in the comments below. If you're old, welcome back. If you're new, welcome. For today's thing, what I want you guys to do is to body, obliterate, destroy, and overall harass the comment section with "We want a showcase." This is pretty much self-explanatory. If you want a showcase to happen sometime soon, destroy the comment section with "We want a showcase," and I'll definitely heart those comments like I always do, because I appreciate everybody who stays to the end of my videos. And now I'll check you guys out on the next one.